Hello, BookTube. Traditionally, Tuesdays are devoted to book tags here on BookTube. Unfortunately, I'm having a really hard time with book tags, and I've been having trouble with book tags for quite a while now. So instead, I'm going to do another book haul. So last week, I put in two orders with Alibris. Alibris is a used book website that brings together a number of small independent used bookstores or mid-sized chain bookstores to put their books online and to sell them. This time I put in two orders. I did one order, and then a few hours later I did a second one. So let's get started. So the first two books are from the order that came in today, and they are from Blue Vase Books out of Michigan, I think. So first up is Slouching Towards Kalamazoo by Peter Vries. It is 1963 in an obscure town in North Dakota, and Anthony Thrasher is languishing for a second year in 8th grade. Prematurely sophisticated, young Anthony spends too much time reading Joyce, Eliot, and Dylan Thomas, but not enough time studying the War of 1812. His sympathetic teacher, a modern Hester Prynne, offers Anthony lessons that ultimately free him from 8th grade and situate her on the cusp of the American sexual revolution. Anthony's restless adolescent voice is perfectly suited to Vries' blend of erudite wit and playfulness, not to mention his fascination with both language and the female anatomy, and it propels the novel through theological debates and quandaries both dermatological and ethical. So, I've been seeing a lot of Peter Vries from the University of Chicago Press. This copy came from them. So the University of Chicago Press every year does a massive book sale. And without fail, something by Peter Vries is included. And I think about 20 years ago, the University of Chicago Press started to publish the whole of Peter Vries' work, which had been long out of print. So I decided I'm going to give him a go and selected this novel. Excuse me. And next is A Fast Life, the collected poems of Tim Dlugos. The long-awaited definitive collection of a major American poet. A Fast Life establishes Tim Dlugos, the witty and innovative poet, at the heart of the New York literary scene in the late 1970s and 1980s, and seminal poet of the AIDS epidemic, as one of the most distinctive and energetic poets of our time. This definitive volume contains all of the poems Dlugos published in his lifetime, a wealth of previously unpublished poems, and an informative introduction, chronology, and notes assembled by the volume's editor, poet David Trinidad. Born in 1950, Tim Dlugos was involved in the mass transit poetry scene in Washington, D.C., and later in New York City, in the downtown literary scene. His books include Entre Nous, Strong Place, and Powerless. Dlugos died of AIDS at the age of 40. And David Trinidad's most recent book, as of when this came out, is Dear Prudence, New and Selected Poems, which I really, really want, and am having a hard time finding. He lives in Chicago, where he teaches at Columbia College. So, while I've been looking for Dear Prudence, this book keeps coming out at me, so I decided to pick it up. And from Half Price Books, I picked up Selected Poems by Robert Duncan. Robert Duncan was a major American poet of the mid-20th century, and I am very, very happy to have this collection back in my library. I had it when I was in my early 20s and I loved it, and I stupidly got rid of it, and I've been kicking myself ever since, and I finally have it back in my collection. It's a hardcover. It's not the paperback that I wanted, but that's okay. So let's read the back of the book. Robert Duncan had the finest ear this side of Dante, wrote Lawrence Ferlinghetti after Duncan's death in 1988. And Duncan, like Dante, was a poet of cosmic imagination, intensely aware of his and poetry's role in the ever-expanding logos of creation. His selected poems, first published in 1993, is a useful and portable compilation, says critic Tom Clark, that provides the most comprehensive available look at the career of the Bay Area's greatest lyric poet. Editor Robert J. Bertholf has enlarged the original collection to include 11 additional poems and excerpts. The second edition of the selected poems fully fleshes out the retrospective of works chosen from the whole of Duncan's writing life. From his early poems through his final groundwork volumes, as well as the serial poems structured of rhyme and passages composed over the course of 30 years, there emerges a prophetic voice of great perception. Duncan insisted, wrote Bertholf, on the value of the poem, the force of love in the human community, and the revelation of mythological presences in everyday dreams. So very, very happy to have this back. So, a 3-book haul, but very happy to have all 3. So my plans are to go ahead and put these 3 with the others that I've hauled yesterday. And I probably might have a few more hauls between now and next week or at the end of the month. What I'm planning to do is, once I finish the fiction, poetry, drama section of my library tour, I'm going to kind of move the books a bookcase. A few weeks ago, well, last month, I had one of my periodic mental issues, and I decided to move one of the bookcases that I'd dedicated to fiction, poetry, and drama back into the little manga room for more manga. Things didn't pan out, and I decided to bring that bookcase back into this library, and it is currently on the other side of this table. And what I'm doing is the side that's facing me right now, I'm using as a basically a book haul bookcase or book haul bookshelf, and then the other side is empty, and that's where I've been filming the library tour section of fiction, poetry, and drama. So what I'm going to do is, once I finish the library tour, I'm going to move the books onto this empty bookcase and then work my way to where the final bookcase of the library tour will be largely empty and will be extra space for more fiction, poetry, and drama. And then as I move the books, I will add the April book haul to those books. So for right now, they're being put in a different space. And I was thinking about using these as bookends, because for some odd reason, my books want to slip over and fall off the bookcases. But I've got 2 other books that I'm going to use for that. So anyway, BookTube, I'm nattering on and on, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now, and I will be back tomorrow with the next installment of my 2026 library tour, and probably think a lot about whether or not I want to do book tags in the future, because they're just not quite working for me anymore. And I don't know what that entails, because book tags are a staple of this corner of BookTube. But I'll figure it out, and I will report back on whether or not there will be any more book tags or what kind of book tags I will be doing. So until the next time, BookTube, thank you and have a great rest of your afternoon.